Heyo, welcome everyone to Today in the Scene by Indie Arcade Wave. I'm Joe, your host, and here on In the Scene, we dive into what's happening in the arcade space from new indie game arcade developers, arcade owners and operators, and just general news in the space. A few things before we dive in, new shirts are available. We've got the two Galactic Battleground shirts and the Indie Arcade Wave shirts. I'll throw those up so you guys can check them out. As well as we have our new four-player tabletop version for Galactic Battleground and our four-player Konami. I'll throw those up too so you can check them out. Um, and the links will be in the description. I want to dive into this week's episode. We've got a returning guest. We spoke with Maurice Berry a few months ago about his arcade system called Game Changers Arcade and what he was doing with that. Basically, a modern system with a traditional classic feeling of the fighting game community. So, like, an old Street Fighter cab, it's kind of got that energy. And since then, he actually had an opportunity to open a full arcade where he now holds tournaments and stuff like that. So we're gonna dive into that. So how you doing today, Maurice?
Hey, how you doing? How you feeling? Good to be back.
I'm glad to have you back. I'm glad to talk about this. It's really cool that I met you kind of like right as everything was picking up. You started showing the game off. You were in a mall just outside of Chicago,
Mhm.
and then something happened. So let's first just let you introduce yourself and tell us what your favorite thing about the fighting game community is.
Sure. So my name is Maurice Berry. I've been playing fighting games for I don't know. Like I was 7 years old when I first played Street Fighter, I believe. Um, since then, that gave me my drive and just being in arcades, and that pushed me to have my drive to where we are now, as we actually modernized and kind of that was what inspired to build us to have us build our own arcade cabinets. Um, which I would like to also add that since then now we have kind of they are arcades, but we've strayed away from even saying arcades because we've evolved them now to a point where now we just call them entertainment kiosks. Flat out, they're just entertainment kiosks because you could do so much more with them outside of just playing the game as well. But yeah, so that got us to the point where now we founded Game Changers Arcades. Um, and when we built it around with the idea of, you know, we're from the fighting game community and this will be a fighting game product first.
Yeah, I love it. Staying focused on the fighting game community, that's where your roots were. You built a system that can focus very much on the fighting game community, but also can do so much else with, you've got a handful of them in schools and stuff, and you can just drop a system in there, plug it in, and everything just runs right away, which is really cool and interesting of a system like this. So give us the story of Game Changers Arcades. I know you have a partner in this, and you
Mhm.
guys kind of started from scratch. We're like, can we do this? You did it. So just let us know kind of how that all unfolded.
Sure. Uh, Pun intended, how it unfolded. Um, initially, I wanted something cool in my basement, right? I wanted something dope. I wanted something cool in my basement. Obviously, I'm from the fighting game community. I wanted to fight. I wanted an arcade cabinet in my basement, particularly more like a Street Fighter one, because hey, just kind of complete my ambiance. Well, I have a very narrow basement door, and so outside of the fact that an arcade cabinet is really expensive, trying to also get it down. We're talking 400 or 500 pounds. Trying to get it down a basement door or get it down a basement. It was just like it didn't happen. It just wasn't gonna happen. And so this is 2017, and I was thinking, okay, it's got to be one that can fold, right? The one that fold up. They got to have been and made it some kind of convenient way for people to be able to have arcade cabinets now in small spaces. It didn't exist. Yeah, I'm like, I could just build one myself. And so quickly realized how hard that was. And that's when I went to my partner, who believed he could do anything. And apparently he can, because here we are today. And, you know, it started off as something like, okay, this is cool. We're going to build this. This is going to be in my basement. It's going to be something nice or whatever. It was just, hey, we did it. And that was in 2018 when we actually did it. We actually built it and actually did it at like end of the year of 2018. And then we looked at it and realized that we had something special. And we was like, yo, we can't just hide this away in my basement. This needs to be out to the world. And so 2019, we kind of shopped it around in 2018 a little bit. In 2019, we decided to officially LLC the business. And here we are today.
Yeah, I love the story of just like it was something that you wanted yourself. You built something cool, and then you were like, other people are probably gonna like this, so let's do something with it. And you were demoing, if I remember correctly, you had like three of them in a mall, and you were showing people just kind of what it is. Completely modular. You could take the fight sticks out and play with them, or you can leave them in. There's a whole bunch of features with it. It's really cool that it like folds up, screen moves. It's like too much to describe really quick. Um, but you got an opportunity to actually open an arcade. So what was the process of like you've got all these cabinets and everything. Now you have a space to put the cabinets. What was it like to move from that space to actually having a solid arcade space?
So there were challenges in the initial challenge in that, in going into the mall in the first place, um, was because, and just to give people the inside understanding, people were saying, well, how do they work commercially? Can these operate in a commercial space? Like you mentioned earlier, we had placed them in schools and places like that. But, the big question was, well, can these operate in a commercial space? And so we said, we would always say yes, but people didn't understand exactly how that would look and how that would work. And so we decided to commercialize our units. And then without any kind of marketing or anything, we went into a mall, um, didn't let anyone know. We just did it. Bam. And we went in there, and the purpose of us going into that mall was to collect data, see how people interact with them, um, and just collect all of this data, which later on I did put out a data video, saying exactly what demographic, what age ranges, male, female, etc., family, who interacted and how often they interacted with our units, um, or with our concept in general. And so from there, we got noticed by a gentleman who already owned his own like gaming escape room kind of. And he said, well, hey, I got a space. I got a whole room in there. I got a whole space. Would you guys like to partner up and possibly do, what you do, and the two could really make sense. And we was like, okay. We talked to him. We went kind of, me and my partner, we went, talked to him and kind of did some negotiations. And from there, it was, that's kind of how we made the decision to jump over into like creating the full retail, and retailing our concept in general. So yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I think it's good to take advantage of a space like that where you already have traffic coming in. You don't have to necessarily draw traffic on your own. Obviously, you are drawing specific people from the fighting game community that
Mhm.
probably wouldn't go to the escape room in the first place. So you're
Right.
just helping each other out at the same time.
Right.
What was the financial side of this like? Because I'm assuming you probably had to make more cabinets, possibly, and then obviously like, are you paying rent on this area? Like, what was it like for you to go from having this idea in this project to partnering up with this guy?
Yeah. So the number one thing, and it's really a good question. The number one thing, I would let people know, especially just from our own experience, we come from the manufacturing side of what we do. We are manufacturers. We build it, we manufacture it, we sell them. Going into opening an arcade puts us into the retail side of things. Two completely different businesses. Uh, you have to market different. You have to create different systems, everything. And so even your finances are different. How you structure your finances, and you're doing these sort of micro transactions as opposed to these like one-to-one bigger. Hey, you walk in, you see this, you like it, you buy it, you walk away with it, or we ship it to you, however it goes. It's very different now. Now you're looking at inventory of drinks and snacks, and you're looking to buy the games that go in them, and you got to pay rent in this specific space as well. You got to have insurance. You have to have um, you're buying specific games, because this game is popular. Street Fighter 6 being one of them. Now you're looking into having streaming equipment because everyone wants to be online. Everyone's tournament and everything wants to be streamed, etc. So the financial side of things was, it's not so much as that it was more or less, it was just very different. And if you're not prepared for it, it can be overwhelming both ways because you're essentially learning two different businesses. And so it's the same thing with rental. We rent. We learned this because we started renting our units to different people for like sports events, esports events, etc. And we quickly learned even with that. It's again a whole different type of business. Now you're looking into, you know, gas, right? Transportation and rental of a truck if you don't already have your own commercial vehicle to transport them in. And then now you have to man the systems and have employees to do that and things like that. So same thing with the retail space. It's not something that's overwhelming, but if you are not in the headspace for it, it can be just like anything else. It can catch you off guard and definitely become sort of like not to mention all the things you need to do as far as getting licenses for everything. You know, all of just going through the state, going through the going through the state, going through the city or the town, et cetera, et cetera. All of that as well.
Yeah, so it's just basically a lot more facets to the business. I mean, when you're talking the manufacturing side, you're worried about inventory, product, you're building this, and then you're shipping it, and it's over. You might have some customer service there talking about how to fix this, how to fix that, whatever.
Yeah,
But for the most part, the transaction is done, and if they want to come back for more, then come back for more.
right,
With all these other facets that you're bringing into the business now, you've got the logistics of people, vehicles, tracking receipts. There's a lot more going because
right,
you're taking the product, moving the product, giving the show, and then bringing the product back and doing it over and over. So
right,
it's just a lot more motion from you as a business owner as opposed to just building, selling, shipping, calling it
right.
done. So the fighting game side of this, that's really the main portion of your business. Obviously, like you're a big Street Fighter guy, and the new Street Fighter just came out. So what kind of tournaments are you guys running at location?
So the way we did it, the way that because our approach to the retail side of things is that, number one, we're not tournament organizers, right? And then on top of that, we're more fans of these games and what we do, honestly, than sort of like organizers. But we are business owners and we do own a product. And so the number one thing that we wanted to do was when we opened this space, well, we was like, okay, let's make it for the community. The fighting game community don't have, at least not in Chicago, they don't really have these very fighting game focused specific places. So for example, you think about a gaming lounge, it's typically very PC gamer focused. And so the gaming lounges would have these very specific PC setups, and then it would bring in that crowd, and the fighting game community would kind of borrow a day from them. And we were like, well, nah, let's kind of flip that. And let's say, hey, look, yeah, we can do Fortnite, and we did. We've done some Fortnite things. We got a little video of that and pictures and stuff. But for the most part, we're like, this is going to be a fighting game focused place first, and we're going to just work with the organizers and give them and like sort of structure out a contract and a deal where they can come and work with us, and they bring their crowd, and they will have a place where they can come to just play fighting games every day if they need to. And so that's how we kind of focused our that's how we kind of structured our I guess you would say, our that was our approach to how we wanted to, like, our vision to how we wanted to create this place. And it worked out because casually it's a very casual friendly place. We don't have trouble getting casual people to come in and just sit down and play because well they could just sit there and press buttons. So worked out. It's pretty easy.
Yeah, I like this idea of like giving the fighting game community a specific place because I feel like just from what I know, like there's a handful of arcades. I'm thinking of Flynn specifically,
Hmm.
in Florida where they have a bunch of games in the front and then you walk into the back and they have this really unique space that not a lot of other arcades have. They've got like a Warhammer 40K and a D&D area, and then they have a handful of consoles and they hold tournaments all the time with streaming and all that stuff, kind of like you're talking, like you have to get the equipment and stuff. And I think it's really cool to have a dedicated space for a community like this because when you go to your average arcade, they've got fighting games, but there's not really any structure on like tournaments and stuff. It's just here's a Street Fighter cab, do what you will with it.
Right.
And those like people that are in the fighting game community just need a space to go where they know there's going to be other people that want to play these games so that you can, you can get better. It's a hobby. You want to get better at it. And I love that. So let's talk about the last thing that I want to talk about is just what the future looks like for you guys. What are your plans for the future to grow this, to bring more people in? And is there anything that you're working on right now?
Yeah. Uh, as of last week, we actually so start here. We're engineers. We're manufacturers, and at our core, and we are engineers. So we created a syllabus, and because we've taught like micro classes before, on a shorter periods, but we created from that, from doing it over and over, we've created a syllabus that create and have an entire lesson plan. Well, that lesson plan just got approved a week ago by Malcolm X. Not a week ago. It got approved prior to that, but a week ago, it just got finalized that we will be able to teach uh, about our class, what we do in the business and entrepreneurial side of gaming and everything, at Malcolm X College here in Chicago. And so that class, it will be a class, and you can sign up for it and actually get credits, and you know, so we're expanding about obviously our product, our business, and what we do, not only just through actually just selling it and putting it in front of people, but we'll actually be able to educate them and inspire people to learn about how to get themselves started in the business, rather if it's through what we're doing or through something different. And we can expand on our brand that way. And of course, more fighting games. We're going to get more people into fighting games and helping them understand that, fighting games this is an avenue. And so our and the avenue can be through our business and through our class. So that is something we're extremely excited about. And aside from that, we're going to be in the airport. That'll be later this year. We'll be inside of O'Hare Airport. Um, really, really looking forward to that. That is a derivative of, again, the commercial concept. So which started in the mall, that led all the way up into us having our own commercial retail space that now, the airport sees exactly. And it's a very clear picture of how you can make money from this and how, this concept can be commercialized. And now that has put us inside of the airport, O'Hare Airport. So, and again, more fighting games. There will be other games, of course. You will have those options to be able to play other games and do other, but again, you'll also be able to play those fighting games, and it'll be right there for you to enjoy. So international, you're flying international, or rather, if you're just flying locally, you'll be able to enjoy our units, of course, and be able to enjoy various different types of games, but especially fighting games. And we have a few more things down the pipeline. Can't exactly discuss them, but we do have a few more things down the pipeline as well. But those are the major things right there.
That's awesome. I mean, those are both really cool things. Like the idea that you're gonna have a college course about like
Yeah,
starting your own business, manufacturing, arcade, fighting
yeah.
games. Like that's awesome in itself. But
Thank you.
being in O'Hare is sick. I mean, it's like one of the biggest airports in the country. So
Yeah.
just being there, and I like that idea a lot because you see arcades in like I'm not gonna say all malls, but some malls and airports and stuff, and it's always just like claw games, redemption, like one huge driving game, and it's like they're just really boring in my opinion. You know,
Mhm.
there's not anything there with a lot of context. It's just how fast can we get quarters out of people's pockets, basically.
Right.
And your idea just gives way more to the people that are showing up, better games, better systems, and just, you know, more fun with those people. So I guess that wraps everything up. I just want to say thank you for coming on, talking about game changers. Shout out your social medias really quick so that people can follow along on your journey.
No problem. So very simple. Game Changers Arcades, exactly the way I just said it. At Game Changers Arcades across every single social media platform, out via Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. My name at LinkedIn. If you would like to find us on LinkedIn, it's my name at LinkedIn, Maurice Berry. Um, but Snapchat, you name it, and GameChangersArcades.com is our website. Go check us out. We actually have a summer sale right now on our first and second generation units. So the quantities are very limited. We're almost out as it is. So this is your chance to get one. We can retrofit them for a commercial system as well. So this is your chance to get one for up to 60% off price on some units. So you will see them marked and you will see them on the website. Take your opportunity to get those now. This is the last time this is going to happen. So because we don't make those generation of units anymore. So
Awesome. Love it. I'm going to put those links down in the description. Go check them out. If you want one of these systems, then it sounds like now's the time to get it if you can get
yeah,
60% off on some of them. So
yeah.
go check that out. Thank you for coming on, Maurice. I really appreciate you coming on, chatting about what's going on with you guys, keeping the fighting game community and arcade space alive. And for anybody that's still watching, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It helps us a ton. We will all grow the wave together and continue to ride it. But until next time, peace.